Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice and Glen Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both the match attending and international supporters view. This episode will be reviewing the Atletico Madrid match from Wednesday, and we'll be previewing the Nottingham Forest match on Sunday, plus all the other news around the club. A lot to get through, so let's get into it.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day.
Glenn, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I liked your intro there that you've changed news around the club from chaos around the club. Does that
I felt like the chaos. You're quite right. I felt the chaos had subsided.
Yeah. The chaos is starting to subside. But yeah, I'm good. Doing well. Had a good week. Busy week at work, but that's okay. Like to be busy. Got to watch the Atletico game live. Glad I did. But more about me later and Spurs later. I want to introduce our guest, a very old friend of mine. Well, not old as in he's old, but a long-time friend of mine, Tim Caffrey. So Tim supported Spurs since I think around 2005. I met you, Tim, in early 2007. You're from New York or from the Northeast, but live in Colorado. Spent a stint in LA. I remember that. But over to you, mate. First, welcome to the pod. Thanks for coming. Keen to understand why Spurs for you. Like, because fair to say you picked us at an era when we probably weren't that good, and also an era when it was really quite difficult to watch Premier League. But you're also a sports guy, right? So over to you, mate.
Yeah.
Maybe share your story on why Spurs and more broadly what drew you to them.
Yeah, so I was a huge soccer fan the first thing I remember is watching and being obsessed with the 1986 World Cup. No, I knew everything about it. The 1990 World Cup and all the World Cups after that. And one of the suggestions I got was, do you have a team? Like in college football, I love American college football. I don't have a team. I just love the sport and I watch it all the time. So someone said, well, you should pick a team because that's more fun. So I thought, all right, well, I'll pick a team in England. And what is Tottenham Hotspur? That's like the most unique kind of weird name I'd ever heard. I looked and said, well, I hope they're not really good because who wants to choose a team that is like the New York Yankees or the best team or the New England Patriots when they're winning titles in American football. So I looked and was like, oh, they're 5th, 6th. They're in London. I'll just choose them. It wasn't going to impact my love of the sport because I knew so much about it already. It was just a more way to focus and put my energy towards rooting for a specific team versus just kind of watching it as a whole. But at the time, around 2005, you couldn't really get games anyway in the U.S. You basically had occasional, once every few months, ability to watch a team. So it was a very low investment choice. I didn't think much would come of it.
Yep.
But I, by myself, went to this bar called the British Bulldog and started meeting people that were looking at the same game on TV. And I'm talkative, so I said, are you a fan? And just started meeting people that way. But it was not some choice I made with other people. It was not a choice that I thought would get me to meet other people. But it's been quite the opposite. Can you both still hear me?
We lost you a bit there, Tim.
How's your connection,
something about
Tim?
my
You're a bit
connection.
wobbly coming in and out.
Yeah, it's saying something trying to reconnect. But my Wi-Fi is fully, it's like as high as you can get.
Are you on a phone or on a laptop?
No, but something happened with my phone, this connecting to via my phone, which is crazy because I'm not on my phone. Let's see. It's asking me something. Can you hear me
Cleared
better
up
or
now.
less?
It's better now. I don't know if you've done something with the
There are all these
connector.
pop-ups that are popping up, and I just clicked on a few that I didn't have before.
Do you on a laptop or an Apple?
I'm on a MacBook, and it's a brand new. It's only a few months old. My iPhone's here, but it's not connected to anything.
Yeah, I wonder, Graham, if it's when someone joins on Apple products, we tend to have this. We have this sort of the German.
I'm on a Mac.
Yeah, you're on a Mac. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no issues. We can try and edit some of this out in terms of.
Don't worry about it. I'll clean it up in the edit.
So I think we basically pick back up, Tim, where you said you're
at the Bulldog.
You're at the
British
Bulldog. Yeah.
Yeah, so I chose Tottenham knowing they weren't a top team, but they seem to be a team on the rise. And I thought, well, they're probably not going to get relegated, and it could be a while till they win anything. So let me just choose them. And, it was something where I would have followed the Premier League anyway. So I almost think that I come into it with a love of the sport, but it doesn't matter what happens to them. I'm never going to have the investment that some of you have who grew up with them. because I have other teams in other sports that I grew up with, and that's probably how you all feel about Tottenham. But to become a fan at about late 20s is a big, I think a bigger deal than your family being a fan and or being a kid, and that's your team.
Yeah, and you played at a decent level, right? I remember you.
Yeah, I probably played
college.
the top up until 18 years old. I played at the top of what you could play in the United States on the Connecticut State team, the Eastern team, played Division I in college. I didn't get much better after 18, so that limited me pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, I have a huge perspective on American soccer, and I've been to Europe, played when I was 14 years old. I traveled to Italy and Germany and Holland to play in tournaments before most people were really doing that. I had friends that went and played on the U.S. national team. It also went to Europe and played in lower divisions way before Americans were even accepted, which is why I follow a lot of American players that play now in Europe, because it was so rare growing up. It wasn't even a dream of ours. In fact, the MLS didn't exist when I grew up. So that was not a dream of ours.
So I do want to come back to maybe an early memory from Spurs. But before I do, you touched on something in your intro about you watched all the World Cups. Obviously, the 94 World Cup was in America. We've got a World Cup in a couple of months starting in America. I had the view, knowing me, big football fan, American citizen, family, friends there. I haven't been able to get tickets. I also am a bit disgusted by the cost of tickets. You're as close as I think you're ever going to get to an American football / soccer fan who is a purist. Like, you've been around a long time and you've followed the sport a long time. Yeah. How do you feel about the World Cup, Tim? Like, in terms of the Infantino, the Trump, all of the shit that's with it. That's what I'm really struggling with.
The circus that's come with it.
The circus. And I'm just not as excited as maybe I would have been on past World Cups. But how do you feel, mate, as an American in the country? And have you got tickets? Are you excited about it? Where do you sit on it?
So I went to 3 World Cup games in 94 and I got them all for free, the tickets. People there were tickets and people weren't excited. Most people in the U.S. didn't even know what was happening. So tickets you could get for free, companies were getting them, they just hand them out. This is different because it's obviously much more popular. But I would say this is just something with the administration that we have now, and probably with Infantino, he's a bit of a showman, is there's always going to be a circus.
That's not the word I would have used, but I'll take it. He's a something, all right.
Yeah.
It's a circus because of who's in charge right now. At the same time, American sports fans have so many options. Like right now is March Madness, tons of basketball. After that are the NBA playoffs. Major League Baseball starts. So for American sports, a lot of time the attention does not get focused until something is about to start. It's almost like we have so many options. It's kind of insane.
Yeah.
And
they're all very good options, may I add. I've lived in America 12 years. I've attended baseball, I've attended college football, I've attended NFL. It's a good experience from a consumer / fan's point of view.
Yeah, Thomas Mueller, who now plays for the Vancouver Whitecaps in Major League Soccer, he's only, he's barely not even a year here. And he made a really great comments a few weeks ago talking about there's a huge soccer culture in the United States, but it's within a bubble of soccer culture. If you are not in that bubble, you would have no idea who Mueller is. You would have no idea who the Vancouver Whitecaps are. There are people that walk around the United States that have no idea that there's a World Cup coming, and they have no idea that Major League Soccer is actually playing games right now. But the people that do follow, you can be completely obsessed. I can, on a Saturday, watch Major League Soccer games from noon to 10, 11 p.m. at night, straight on Apple TV. Yeah. But I have to choose to watch that. I can also choose to not watch Major League Baseball, even though it's on TV all the time. And I like the sport, but I would say I don't watch any games until the playoffs. So it's this idea in the U.S., I think, that the people that are into the sport are very excited, but the country yet is not even fully aware that it's going to be happening this summer outside of commercials you might see randomly on Fox TV.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Will you go to any games, mate? Did you end up getting tickets or?
So I'm not a ticket person as much in terms of like, I tend to wait to the last minute because I have been able to get things that are cheaper. I like to kind of see what the atmosphere is going to be. I don't believe in overpaying for tickets. Also, I have the memories of going to the World Cup, like I said, and getting free tickets. So I'm going to wait and see. I also,
if there's a lot of empty stadiums, they might start shifting 100%. On tickets for,
100%. That there are
rumors
now.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say what might play into your favour is that a lot of people will not travel to this World Cup, I don't think, from abroad. I think there'll be a lot of countries that will... Number one,
why would you?
Half the countries that are going to be playing
Senegal
are on a banned
they
list.
Can't travel, not allowed to, yeah.
Yeah, even Iran, they're not even the players are at risk, apparently, according to Trump. So, like, it's just, I think there's a lot of people who have been completely turned off from going at all, who probably would have attended. So it might be that there'll be a lot of games with tickets available.
It's a real shame that Denver didn't get selected as one of the host cities. Like, I thought they would have been a shoo-in with what's it called now? It used to be Invesco Field. It's probably called something different now.
Yeah, it's Empower Field. I heard there were 2 reasons we didn't get it. Number one, supposedly our presentation was very poor, and we didn't basically, we didn't
kiss Trump's
roll
ass.
out the red carpet like Kansas City did. Also, FIFA wanted, because we're such a large country, they wanted cities to be drivable. And actually, Denver is so in the middle, it's not as drivable as... So one of the pods is going to be Houston, Dallas, and Kansas City. You can kind of drive in... It's drivable, all 3 locations. And Denver was not like Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles. It's not like Philadelphia, Boston. It's kind of its own island, as it's always been.
On its own, yeah.
And Kansas City really, I heard, pulled out the red carpet, had a great presentation, and was all in. And Denver, I heard, was not all in, and so that hurt Denver. But it's interesting. I think the World Cup, what's going to hurt it, and this is just recent, is the immigration issues in the United States, I think, are making people worried for good reason. And then, obviously, we can't avoid it, but the war in the Middle East, obviously, is not helping. And that's not a political statement by me. That's just reality. And I think it's really going to hurt the enthusiasm for this World Cup, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, interesting stuff. Thanks for your take, Tim. And I think, Graeme, the more guests we get on, the closer the World Cup approaches, it's probably become more topical, right? In terms
and I think it's interesting as well, because I think you mentioned about the bubble, right? And I think the problem, we speak to a lot of people and everyone's in the soccer bubble with us, because we're getting people on who are already football fans, and most of them for an extended period of time. So we're not getting a broad range of views. It's like an echo chamber, right? We know exactly the kind of people that we know and we like, and they're like us. So it's interesting. We had a really good conversation with the 2 guys from Toronto who they have a very negative view of the World Cup at the moment, mostly because they feel like the Canadians got stiffed in the allocation of matches.
And
I totally agree.
And actually, when you think about it, it's probably the safest place to go and watch football at the moment.
You got the cartel issues in Mexico,
exactly, yeah,
and the political the overall political issues in the United States, yeah.
But I think the quality of the matches that are being played there is not the best teams, and that's just unfortunate, I think. But
isn't there a World Cup coming up in 2030?
Moving away from the... Sorry, Tim, go ahead.
Isn't there a World Cup coming up in 2030 that's going to be in Morocco and Uruguay and something insane?
And Portugal or something like that, isn't it?
Do you know why FIFA have done that?
For the 100th anniversary?
So the Saudi bid was essentially unopposed. So they've done that so that they can say the Saudi bid is unopposed, because they can say, well, we had it in Africa, which is Morocco, we had it in Europe, Spain, and we had it in South America, even though they're trying to cover off. So it's going to be split across like 3 continents, which is ridiculous, just so that Saudi can have it and it can go back to the Middle East.
Oh my God. So I think we all thought when Sepp Blatter went that finally FIFA would be, a sensible organisation. But I think we've talked about this before. I think Blatter was about the money, the bribes. Yeah. There was a lot of bribing going on at the time.
Power.
But Infantino, he's an absolute power-hungry maniac. He's like, it's just insane.
Yeah. No, indeed.
It's not great. It's not good for the sport at all.
Not at all. Well, anyway, speaking of the sport, moving away from World Cup, even though I will still tune in and watch it, I'm pretty disgusted by a lot of what's gone on in the lead up. Atletico Madrid, Graeme, you did not go. Did you watch it? I thought we looked. I messaged my mates here, and my message said, And it was right after we created that chance for Tell, and he kind of fluffed his lines, but it was wonderful build-up. Archie Gray started it, and I texted my mates here and I said, are we good again? Like, we looked really good.
Yeah.
Did you watch it, Graeme?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Really impressed with the performance as a whole. And it's the same players, right? So this is what I don't... And also, obviously, we've played better in Europe than we have in the league most of the season.
Not as good as that, though.
No. Obviously, yeah. But this was...
Yeah.
I felt like there was a real... And I'm wondering if it's a lift that they got from the draw on Sunday against Liverpool, that suddenly there was a bit more belief around the team. Because... Yeah. There was a few changes, wasn't there, from the Sunday match?
Well, Richarlison was suspended.
Yeah.
Xavi started.
Romero and Van der Ven were back, weren't they? Because we played Dragusin and Danso on.
Danso, which I thought Danso played really well against Liverpool, but yeah.
Yeah, so there was a few changes, but it was primarily like the midfield was the same too. So Gray and Sarr.
But how good was Xavi? I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, really good. Really good.
We got a bit of a...
He got the man of the match, but I thought that it should have gone to Gray. I thought Gray was fantastic. He had a brilliant game again.
Well, I've only seen the headline of the England squad. I haven't looked in detail. I assume he didn't get picked.
No.
I was hoping he would get picked. Yeah.
Spence and Solanke are in.
Yeah, okay, good. Deserved. But I thought Gray deserved a look. Anyway, Tim, did you watch it, mate? I know... We're in a WhatsApp group, and I think you'd watched the first half, and you hadn't watched the second.
I watched
the
replay.
Or you watched the whole game?
I ended up watching the replay. I didn't really get to see it live. And the thing that stood out to me is just the confidence that our players seem to have. Now, is that from the Liverpool game? Is that from behind the scenes, from what Tudor's doing in training? But I think it's pretty clear that under Frank, towards the end, it doesn't matter about his methods. It does. But the confidence was shot. And these are all professional players that, as you saw, like you just said, are we good? Is this a new team? And I remember watching just Tell and seeing his chances and Seaman and being like, what is the difference? It has to be confidence. It has to be belief, because they're all professional football players, and I was astounded how well we played against a really good team in the Champions League. And I think that carries forward. I think it's going to carry forward, but we'll see.
I hope so. I hope it's more of the same, which we'll get into in a minute in terms of looking ahead to the Forest game. I also thought, and you obviously go to the stadium more often than I or Tim does, I thought the fans really played their part as well.
Yeah, 100%. There was really good support in the stadium. I think that it came across even across the... considering the Atletico fans are really loud.
Yeah.
You could still... The home crowd was really vocal and really supportive, and I think it was really good. And it's kind of... I think finally everyone's realised that this is what we need to do between now and the end of the season, right? You've seen that there's they're organising for all the supporters to meet up like 2 hours before the match on Sunday
for good reasons though, not to protest.
No, absolutely, exactly. To greet the supporters coach, the players coach as it arrives. So I feel like maybe we finally learned a lesson that you get a better tune out the players when you support them than when you berate them and boo them.
Well, oh my God,
booing and berating doesn't make you feel good as a fan. It certainly doesn't help on the yeah. It's just such a negative. Like you're not going to create any joy from that. Tim, leading up to, let's go back because obviously we've not spoken at length about Spurs for a little while. Did you subscribe that we were actually going to be relegated like a couple of weeks ago? Did you have genuine concerns, or were you of the view that they'll sort it out and we'll find our groove?
That we'll sort it out and we'll find our groove, because I don't care what anyone says. These players, no matter how they were signed or who evaluated them, they're all top players. And I think the difference between a great player that isn't on our team and our actual squad is like this big. It's very small. A lot of it has to do with confidence. A lot of it has to do with the system. A lot of it has to do with injuries. So I'm thinking we have way too much talent and way too many resources to go down. But what I started seeing was this lack of confidence. And I'm not in the stadium, so I don't know this. But I think the atmosphere in the stadium, and I've heard this and read this, it has a huge impact on the team. And if the fans are not in it and their fans are acting nervous, then I think that translates down to the squad. I don't know how much the squad is on social media, but I think the nervousness of the press around Tottenham, all impacts the team. So I didn't think we had the chance of going down. But when we started to spiral, a lot of times I think that spiral is very hard to stop. And I believe that somehow that spiral stopped at Liverpool. And I don't know why or what happened behind the scenes. But if that spiral has stopped, I think we have the quality and we also have the players with the ability to not even be close to relegation. In these, what do we have? 7, 8 games left? 9?
Yeah,
we
8,
have
I
the
think it is,
time. Yeah, we have the time to not be relegated. There's a lot of football to play.
Yeah, and I sit kind of somewhere in the same view in that I've always thought that West Ham they've hit some good form. Forest have not really done that yet, but West Ham certainly have. But yet they're still behind us. And I'm thinking, if I'm a West Ham fan or you're looking at that and you're being like, gosh, we've had a really purple patch. We've been winning games, but yet we're still behind them. We're yet to do that. And that's coming, right? I see that that's coming. I really do believe that. And people were getting a bit down on Tudor in the opening few games. But at the end of the day, if we stay up and let's say he did lose his first 4, which he did, but then he wins his next 6, the outcome is the same, right? We stay up, we get the required points. Like it really shouldn't matter how we get the required points. I think we'd be fine. The other thing about the Atletico game, which really struck me, and Graeme, I'll be keen to get your view on this. When Alvarez scored, if that happens a month ago, heads go down.
Yeah.
Heads go down. We lose 4 or 5-1. It didn't though. We kept going. We kept finding
there was real momentum to the team. I think there's a couple of things from that I saw as statistics, like the last 2 matches, the team has run on average 8 kilometers further than in previous matches under Frank, for instance. So like the fitness and the energy and the running on the pitch is more. So they're giving more. Oh yeah, and the number of, I think there was 18 shots.
I was just looking.
11 on target, which
now.
was the most, which is the most in any game that we've had at home for about 2 seasons, I think.
And we got a penalty. Now, I do not lean into this conspiracy theory that we don't get pens because the refs don't like. We don't get pens in the league because we've not been getting in the box to get the pens, right?
Yeah.
There's a direct correlation there.
Well, we should have had one against Liverpool, right?
Quite possibly, yeah. I wouldn't disagree.
You're right.
And it's when you create more and you're a little more intent in the attacking part of the pitch, you're going to result in maybe getting the pens or the free kicks that result in chances and goals.
I think from what you said is absolutely right. I'll be honest, right? So because fortunately, all of my opinions are now public knowledge because they're part of the podcast. But I was really concerned, not because I didn't think we had the skill in the players, but that spiral you talked about, I couldn't see us arresting it. I felt like that the confidence had gone, and it had become normalised to lose, and it was a real struggle to see how we were going to break that cycle. But the Liverpool game, it did it. For me, the Liverpool game was a free hit almost, because I felt like the Forest game was going to be much more important anyway. So I was almost like not worried about it. But actually, that point could end up being the most important point of the season, because if that's the thing that transformed us from being arrested the descent, like we've gone from stall and we've been able to pull it back up again. And I really hope that we continue that going forwards. I mean, it's 8 games. We need about a point a game on average to be safe, probably 9, 10 to be really sure. But I think we should definitely better manage that. Yeah. Especially as we're scoring again, we look better going forwards. We're still conceding goals, but not as many as we're scoring. So let's try and keep it that way for the rest of the season.
What do you both think? I'm looking at the stats here from the game, and I know that, Glenn, you're very focused a lot more on tactics than I am. I'm more into strategy. I'm not as great into tactics. But like our expected goals was almost 2.4. Our shots were 18. But not only that, our shots on target were 11. Our big chances were 3. Yeah. And obviously these numbers are just trends to show you, good or bad. They don't determine things, these stats. But under Frank,
whether your players are getting into the right positions and to take the chances.
Like, I almost look at it as like the stats aren't everything, but they can tell you good or bad.
Yeah.
Under Frank, we would have games where we had two shots? We would have maybe 2 shots, 0 on target. We would have, like, it was insane, the lack of attacking. And as Glenn said, your chance of getting a penalty goes up if you're actually in the box with the ball.
Yeah.
And, what has flipped, in your opinion, that we are actually, even in this last game, we're actually getting more shots and we're actually, having more chances to even score?
For me, I think it's both. It's marginally tactics, but I think it's almost the mindset of Tudor seems to be, because even in the game when we lost to Fulham, we still had a bit of a go. Palace was just a mess. But where I'm going with this is, it seems to me Tudor's outlook on a game of football is he's not going to worry so much about the opponent. He's going to have them worry about us, right? And he's going to utilise the tools that he has in his disposal to go and take the game to them, right? And that's exactly what happened against Liverpool, right? In terms of, did we have a great deal of the ball? Probably not, but we created a fair bit. I mean,
lost him.
It was, I'm sure he'll be back. We created a fair bit. And it seems to me we've got a manager that actually wants to
impose ourselves on other teams rather than set up to negate other teams, which is the Frank philosophy that we seem to have been following for most of the season. I think we gave far too much respect to teams that we should have been trying to beat for most of the season, and now all bets are off as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and, looking at that Atletico game, Graeme, it's almost like, I read an article somewhere, it summed up Spurs in many ways, that even when we win, we lose, which is frustrating. But how much do you, I don't want to say blame him, but how much do you hold the Kingsley situation, let's call it? How much do you put that in that we did go out because of that? Because if those slips don't happen, we'd probably win the tie, right?
It wasn't just Kinski, because Van der Ven fell over as well, right? So it was all 3 goals were slips. There was definitely a problem with the pitch, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Good. Hey, Tim. Now, good. We were just answering your points on what we think changed with Tudor, and it's more just the belief of imposing ourselves on the game and having...
I will say the only other thing that I can think of, and is obvious to me, is that we're far more vertical. We're trying to get the ball up the pitch quicker. I felt like, there was too much side to side and backwards passing with Frank. So, biding our time. It'll
be interesting. Here's going to be the litmus test, though, Graeme. When Kudus is back, which I think he'll be back after international break, I'm really keen to see how Tudor utilises him. Because under Frank, it was so fucking predictable. It was cut back, run back. It was like
he would destroy the momentum on every attack. He would get the ball in a good position. He would run down the wing, and then he would stop and cut back inside.
Yeah,
just
every time.
And give in a few seconds for all the defenders to get back into shape. And it happened game after game. And I was sitting in the stadium, and I was literally calling it. I could tell exactly what was going to happen before it even happened, and it happened every time.
Yeah.
Maybe he's been told to do that, but maybe the problem with that was when he was getting the ball and making those advanced runs, there weren't any players ahead of him or keeping up with him because we were not committing players forward. Whereas now it's like the charge of the light brigade. Every time we get the ball in advanced positions, they're really, I mean, like the great thing about, I guess, having like Sarr and Gray in those central positions is that they've got engines. They can just go all day. They'll just keep running for the whole match, and they'll give you everything for the whole match. And so you've got all of that. They're able to get up and back. So they can keep up with the attacks and still get back to being in a position when we lose control of the ball. So I guess I would say there's also a lot more kicking from the keeper to
going longer.
Yeah, longer. So not always playing it out from the back. So maybe just mixing it up a bit as well. It just feels a bit more. The intent is to get the ball up the other end and score goals rather than bore the other team into submission, which I felt a lot.
Absolutely.
I attended a lot of those matches this season.
You attended a bunch of Frank matches.
Oh
when Frank
God,
was
yeah. It's like cure for
it remains
insomnia.
to be seen, Tim, on if we still have this available next season. I hope we're in the Premier League. But so we share a season ticket, Graeme and I. We have a a pair. So where I'm going with that is, if you're back ever, have you been to the new stadium yet, Tim?
I have not. No. I went to 2 games right before in the old stadium, right before it closed.
Yeah.
White Hart Lane.
Well, please know that if you go, we just need a bit of lead time, but if we've still got them, which maybe we will, maybe we won't, we'll probably at least have one. Just hit us up, man. Like,
okay.
you can,
I'm going to think about it
that out.
once that all the wars stop.
Yeah, too true. Something we didn't ask you, Tim, and we always ask our international guests, is I think I've got a pretty good handle on it as far as kickoff times in Colorado, of course. But what's your typical viewing experience, mate? Do you go to Esters anymore? Obviously, the Bulldogs, is that still a thing? Like, did the Bulldog close? I know the Three Lions did.
Bulldog is still open. I went there a few months ago, right before the Europa League final, just to see what the deal was. So the sport in general is so popular now and it's hugely popular with people in their 20s and 30s, that I actually sometimes can't see the full game. And I can't hear what's going on. And I remember right before the pandemic, Jeremy and I were talking about how we didn't like the experience anymore.
Getting old.
At the bars,
old,
and then the pandemic hit, and then I feel like my habits changed. But the games I watch mostly at home. I'll record them sometimes and watch it later. But I mean, there's really no game you can't catch here.
It's really interesting, and obviously we speak to a lot of people who have been supporters for quite a long time, and how their viewing habits have changed a lot. So there was a lot of people who were like early founders of supporters clubs who were involved and would go to all the matches together. And actually, it's almost been like the passing of the baton to the next generation. And now it's not the same, so people kind of like drift away from it a little bit. We've seen that a lot, haven't we? From all kinds of different supporters clubs.
We certainly have, right? And each to their own in terms of how you want to support your team. But for me, I actually went to Esters when I was back in Colorado. I think it was last September or the September before, when we beat Man United under Ange Postecoglou. But the point I'm making is, would I say I walked away from that experience being like, yes, I really enjoyed that, I want to go back to Esters? I was like, nah, probably not. It was fine, but it's more about, with all respect to them, but it almost felt a bit like it's more about being seen.
It's kind of become self-sustaining now, though, hasn't it? Like, it took effort. It takes effort to start something like that, but eventually you get critical mass.
It was almost a side thing. Yeah. Whereas I remember going with Tim, like I said, and it was a commitment. Like, there was 3 or 4 of you. Like,
if you didn't show up, the bar was going to be pissed, because they're like, we and not drunk, pissed. They were going to, because they're like, we opened up for you. You better show up.
Yeah. And it would be like a battle to make it. And then there was a couple of times, and the one that sticks out, Tim, I think you were there. I'm sure you were, when Spurs beat Wigan 9-1.
Yeah.
But the game wasn't on live, but Fox was showing a rerun at 3 p.m. that day, Colorado time. So we all gathered at the pub
to watch a replay.
We didn't know the score, and then we watched it in that little like elevated back area. Do you remember? It had like the small TV.
Yeah,
great memories. It was almost like our thing, and now it's so mainstream, it's everyone's thing, and that's fine. Like, and that's not just America, that's just global, right? The Premier League is a product, and there are a lot of consumers of it. It's some money,
and there's been a massive.
Interesting.
There's
the more sports are on.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead, Tim.
The more sports are on TV, I find it overwhelming. So, like, if I could watch a game every few weeks, it was great. Now every game's available, and there was this pressure to like be at certain events for every single game. And that's just easy to me. I mean, even sports I love, like other sports like basketball, I don't watch the teams I like their every game. I follow it. So the fact that it's other sports that I watch and I really like, it at some point, it almost becomes too much. I'm sure you feel that with Spurs. It's like, 2 games a week, and the off season is so short.
We've got the commitment of watching 2 matches and then talking about 2 matches
to
an audience as well.
Really hard, yeah.
I completely get it. But do you think it's specifically with football, soccer in the US, do you think it's because football is quite tribal, I mean, it's always been that way, do you think that a lot of that's been adopted by the international supporters as well, and it's why people are attending everything? It's almost like a belonging thing rather than
Oh, it totally is.
Yeah.
I was made fun of, and I was made fun of for playing soccer as a kid. And I only got into the sport at 5, 6 years old because my dad read about it in the paper and signed me up. There was no history. And it's now a cool sport. It was not cool 25 years ago. It was like, what sport? Why are you playing soccer? And so now it's not only cool, but I know people that follow the sport for the sense of belonging, like the tribal nature of it. And they actually like the fact that it's not mainstream. I don't care because I just want to watch the game. I like that it's not made fun of like it was 25, 30 years ago, but that wouldn't really impact my love of the game. As it's become more mainstream, more people are adopting it because the game's incredible. And because the country's multicultural in the United States, it makes a lot of sense that it's getting more popular. It's definitely one of the fastest growing sports, and it will be because of all the kids that are playing, but also the fact, at least until this year, that, we had lots of people from other countries moving here. Whereas I think I've read recently, we actually have this is one of the first years ever, we actually have more people leaving the United States than moving in. So we'll see what happens.
Crazy stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So looking ahead, bringing it back around to Spurs, looking ahead to the Forest game. Tim, what time? Because it's 1:15 a.m. Monday morning for me, which is 2:15 p.m. Sunday in England. So that's 7 in the morning for you?
It's about 8 a.m. I think it's 8:15 a.m. I'm excited because this is the way I look at it this is such a meaningful match. And if we can't win this match at home against Forest, we quote unquote deserve to go down. I almost think so.
Yeah.
There's no reason that we should not win this match. Now, if we don't, then I think we at least have the ability to play the teams that we're competing with. I think we have a game against
Leeds at home.
So thankfully we have these 6-pointers. And so if we can't win this game, I think at least we say we had the ability to stay up. But I think this is a huge game in that if we don't win, I will be shocked, to be honest.
I'd sit somewhere in the same, it's one of those where, to your point, Tim, there's no real excuse now. We've seen what the players can do under Tudor. The fans are behind them on Wednesday. There's plans, like Graeme touched on Sunday, to really get behind them. You have everything you need to go and win this game. If you shit the bed, like to your point, we deserve to be in the mess we're in. I don't think we will lose. I do think we'll win. I've got a weird feeling we might actually go out and win really well. I hope that's the case. Graeme, you're going to be attending, right? You're going.
Change of plans. Thomas is going.
Oh, cool.
Thomas with his friend instead. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. He's going with his friend James. So
awesome.
I'll be watching from home. Things that might play into our favour are Forest played yesterday, so a day later than us, and they went to extra time as well. So although they did make a lot of changes, so most of their first team starting players probably only played 60 minutes. They probably played 60 minutes or something, but it's not the advantage that you would have hoped. But I'll take every bit we can. But it also means they have to travel back from Denmark as well. So and if they get extra time, the likelihood is they probably didn't get back till the early hours of the morning at the earliest, right? So they won't have had a lot of time to prepare after that match, which hopefully will be good for us. But other benefits from the game on Wednesday, Dogie came on and got minutes. Bergvall came on and got minutes. Gallagher came on and got minutes. Yeah. Richarlison will be back after suspension. Do
you think he comes straight into the team, Richarlison?
Yes, yeah, I think so. It depends. I don't know the answer to that, I gotta be honest. Because Solanke's struggling with a knock. I think he's got a hip issue. He didn't train today, but he may train tomorrow. So he might be available, but he might not still. But we've still got Richarlison and Moani as well. I was quite surprised that I thought that the back four worked really well against Liverpool, and then he changed it straight back again on Wednesday to a 3.
But that worked too.
But also, not only did he change to 3, he had Dragusin instead of Danso, which I thought was a bold move because of the two, I know which one my money would be on if my life depended on it, which is a bit weird. But yeah, so other things that play into the match. Vicario is going to have a hernia operation after the match on Sunday. I guess it's the perfect time because there's like a 3-week international break and we won't play again for another 3 weeks. So the chances are he might recover after that.
I think he's actually looked much improved at times as well. I do think he's made some really important saves.
Oh, God.
I'm not saying he's the
that
future.
save he made on Wednesday night was
when it was
world
going the
class.
other way, and it was a great save.
Yeah. So like, there's a lot to be said for the availability of players. I think we're getting better, right? I think there's 9 players that are still out, and so that's down a lot. We're back down to single figures for the first time in a long time, which is good. And then after the Forest game, as I said, we've got this long 3-week break, and the likelihood is Kudus will be back after that as well. And I think even Ben Davies might be back.
Maddison might be back.
Maddison, I'm hearing.
I don't know whether it'll be that early. Apparently, he's on grass, sprinting and doing ball work, so he must be pretty close. No sign of Kulusevski, no mention of it. Whenever they ask it, there's nothing.
Well, do you know his injury though? And I didn't know this until a mate told me. It's exactly the same one that basically ended the original Ronaldo's career.
Really?
It's a patella. The back of the kneecap, like it's the same thing. So whilst it's very rare, it has happened before, and it was R9 that had it, and he was never the same player.
But then but you'd think that medical science would have moved on in the preceding.
You'd hope so. Yeah. Something while I'm thinking about it, and we're on topic. So Tim, I think you had sent this to the group. Wasn't there something about an NFL team where they were having was that more? Oh, this is a conspiracy. Or do you think there's something to that? Maybe share for Graeme and our viewers, listeners, what it was.
Yeah, so it basically turned out to be a guy that was convinced that he knew why the San Francisco 49ers had so many injuries at their new stadium over the past number of years. And he attributed these injuries to a substation, like a power substation that is right near the practice field. So it was posted on X and it kind of gained traction. Now I saw it because I'm a 49er fan. I was born in San Francisco. So it went from 49er fans seeing it to it just got on fire to all sports fans started seeing it. I jokingly sent it to our group saying maybe there's a substation or something buried beneath our practice field. It got so much traction that the NFL started commenting on it and other sports did. And the scientists then came in and was like, there is no evidence to support anything this guy is saying. In fact, the guy who brought it up had some history of making claims without evidence. But the NFL and even the San Francisco 49ers said, we don't believe there's any evidence to support that an energy power station near a practice field is causing soft tissue injuries with legs and hamstrings and knees. But we will investigate it because there is so much social media attention on this. They felt that if they didn't investigate it, it would almost be that they weren't taking anything seriously that could be contributing to the injuries. For Spurs, it's is there something going on? Because it is beyond unusual,
not normal.
I think.
Yeah.
How many things are happening?
I saw another article. It wasn't
the retractable pitch. Wasn't it?
The retractable pitch in the new Real Madrid pitch is retractable as well, and they've also had a lot of injuries. And there's a theory that it's to do with the fact that the substrate, the earth and the is a lot shallower because it's in a tray and gets moved around after the match. Because we have there's an AstroTurf pitch underneath the Tottenham pitch, and so the main pitch moves away on trays and gets stored under the stadium while we're hosting other events. And so the amount of earth underneath the turf is much less. It's 5 inches instead of 20 or something that they have on a normal pitch. And so there was some thought that maybe it becomes compacted and it leads to more twisting injuries, like when your foot gets planted and it's solid. Because even the turf itself now contains man-made fibers, right? It's kind of like a woven into the turf to help the turf not break up like it used to do. And when you go back and watch games from the mid-90s, funnily enough, we were talking about there's a game in 94 where Spurs had to win on the last day of the season away at Oldham. And it looked like an allotment. Like it looked like somewhere you would grow potatoes. It was like
it was so
half
bad.
sand. It looked like the Somme. It looked like, like something out of World War One. It was just horrible. And when you look at the pitches now in the Premier League, they look like bowling lawns every time you see them. So the difference is that there's a lot of technology gone into those, but I wonder if maybe the impact of that technology is the fact that we're seeing more injuries from that as well.
Well, it's a ridiculous amount, right? And we've recycled medical teams. This isn't just a lot of the time it's being blamed on Ange Postecoglou's methods. Well, he was gone and we're still getting the injuries. So it's what the fuck's causing this? I
don't think you can ever blame the training. Well, I say you could, but I don't think either Ange or Frank trained the players harder than Pochettino did. He did double sessions. And even the matches that he would run them ragged, they were, run them into the ground. So we had injuries. Yes, we had injuries, but not like we've had in the last couple of years. It's been insane, right? It's been.
We have a member of our group, Andrew Sullivan, who brings up over the years, and
we've had Andrew on.
Yeah, and he said this, and it makes some sense. I think others have said this too. Hugh might have said this. It's not so much the injuries. It's almost the misdiagnosis or the fact that someone has a small knock and walks off the field and we find out 4 days later it's a torn ACL. Or someone goes out and they're originally supposed to be out for one game and we find out 10 days later they're out for the season. Yeah. Or there's setbacks. And that's the part I think that is frustrating.
The mishandling of when they do happen, that is mishandled as well. Yeah.
Or is it the PR team that is giving wrong information out? Because it's almost the part.
It's just a knock. We started saying it when they say it's going to be a couple of days. Is that normal days or Tottenham days? It's like there's almost
dog years.
Tottenham
years. Yeah. Nah, too true. Well, look, bring it round to the Forest game. I'm probably not going to watch live, given the kickoff time for me is a bit tricky on a Monday, but I tend to go on blackout and watch it at a reasonable hour. But I'll go around for some predictions. I've got a feeling we're going to win and win big. I'm going to go, it's finally going to click, I think 4-0. I can see us getting a clean sheet as well. But Tim, what do you reckon, mate? You're going to watch it live, and what's your prediction?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to watch it live. I'm going to make a huge breakfast, and I think 3-0.
Yeah.
I was going to say 3-0 before you said 4-0. Yeah. I think that this is, put up or shut up time.
Yeah, this is the one. I agree. This is the one to get out there and stop talking, go out and do it. And can we get some distance between us and the drop zone and just put this season behind us? Graeme?
I think 3-1. I think we'll get a comfortable win. Interesting. I think I'm not sure if it's Saturday or Sunday that West Ham play, but they're away at Villa, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that they'll struggle to get something off of Villa. That again. So if West Ham loses and we beat Forest, we put 4 points between us, and the goal difference that we already have makes it like a fifth point, right? So all of a sudden, that's a nice little cushion going into the international break, and maybe we still and then we got. I haven't even looked at the next fixtures. Is it Sunderland next?
Sunderland after the international break, which we'll obviously cover at another time. But I said in the last episode, they're almost cruising now. They're not going down. They're not going to get Europe. They'll be very happy with a mid-table finish. Yeah. There's an opportunity there to go there and actually get something because they're almost on the beach, theoretically.
With their beach ball.
Yeah, but to Tim's point, this is the one. The Forest game at home, this is the one. It starts now, right? You can start to arrest this season and sort it out by putting some good distance between you and the others and getting some wins. You don't often get the opportunity to be in these messes and play the teams around you, and we have got those opportunity to do that. So you've got to win.
We've still got some tough matches to come, right?
Yeah, we've got to go Chelsea still.
But then let's be honest, we've had good results. We had good result against City, good result against Liverpool. Yeah. And actually, I don't think Chelsea are, maybe it's a good time to play them. They're not, out of Europe.
Well, Liam Rostinho, I fully expect he'll be out of a job end of the season. Yeah. Again, that's a fucking weird. It
was a really bizarre appointment for me in the first place, but
it was just almost a transfer of custodian, right?
From it was like
another.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. Still doesn't.
Yeah.
He's a bit David Brent
I
as well, isn't he?
I probably should have done this on the intro to Tim, but over my shoulder here, you were there for that, Tim, when I got that signed.
I have stuff signed.
Yeah, when we had the gold, remember the golden tickets?
I have
so
stuff
when Spurs came, Graeme, for was it the All-Star game they came to play?
Yeah, and I was the contact point, and I have things that are signed.
You got some weird email. You should tell this story, actually.
Yeah, I basically was in Chicago for work, and I get a voicemail that I still have on my phone that from an English person who I thought it was spam, saying, "This is so-and-so from Tottenham Hotspur. Please call me back. I want to talk to you." And I'm like, this is bullshit, whatever. Maybe I should call them back. And I called them back, and they're like, yeah, we're going to be out in Denver. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the All-Star game. And when they called, and we talked, and then there was an email. And it was like, what do you have planned for us? And I'm like, well, how much is the budget? And they're like, there's no budget. Great. So we have no budget means they're going to give us a lot of money. They're like, no, it's no budget. Zero.
There's no money.
There's no money. And I'm like, what the F are we going to do? So I called up everyone and was like, hey guys, like, you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. But I'm also
going to... you were winding me up. I was like, you're lying.
People thought I was lying. And they're like, because I joke around a lot. And I was like, not only are they coming, but we got to figure out what to do without money. And I need your help because I don't know what they're expecting. And it was kind of shocking.
So tight, aren't they?
But we had, you would have been all part of this, right? So we had the children's hospital visit.
Yeah, I stupidly didn't go because I didn't know you'd be walking around with players. But yeah.
Yeah. So, and we did this. This was how lacking in detail it was, Graeme.
Yeah.
There was this. It was the Colorado Spurs supporters group. You need to do something to help promote Tottenham. So we did it at the children's hospital, and we went and we were going to give out some gifts and stuff. At the time, we thought we might get Ledley King.
Yeah.
And we were like, that'd be cool. And we walk in, and it was Ledley King, Ben Davies, Ryan Mason, Nasir Chadley,
Henry Winks. Winks was there.
Harry Wing. I think maybe Tom Carroll. It was amazing. So that was awesome. And then did we have to book the fucking pub for the Brad Friedel?
Absolutely. Yeah. And they're like, they were right. They said, you will have no problem because if you tell them that 1,000 people are going to show up, they're not going to charge you any money. And they were right. The thing I want to say, though, is we had our friend Mark Gustafson who worked for Under Armour, and he knew for months that they were coming. He couldn't say anything, at least a month, maybe two. And so once they came, we also had someone who was, they were sponsoring the stadium or our uniforms at least. And so he had a lot of contacts that helped us out because he had a whole organization that was able to give us resources. But
it was that kit, which is Under Armour.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was crazy. And then the fact that we had all these supporters clubs showing up and people were complaining or they were bitching or they were asking us things about, and we're like, no, we planned this for Tottenham. We were not expecting people from around the world to fly in.
Oh yeah. People were like rocking up, Graeme, like outside the pub. Well, we can't get in. Like there's not a table. And we're like, that's not on us. Like we can't know what to tell you.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Wait till they come to your city.
And then there was
we'd only filled out the season. We filled out the paperwork to become an official supporters club 6 months prior. And the only reason we did it is we thought maybe in the next 25 years Spurs will visit, and we probably should be a supporters club just on the off chance. And then 6 months later they're like, we're coming and you need to plan shit.
And I can't even remember his name, Tim might, but there was this crazy dude who's English from LA, and he'd come out, and there was a few cohort of them. But you were in the pub, I think I'd gone, and they were like, wasn't he like smashing stools up or like just getting like really aggro and just being like obnoxious?
Yeah.
And like, we're like, what is it?
Check your text message. There's something I sent you earlier that is that guy. Commenting on a friend we have, but there were just some crazy people, and it was it was insane. I want to change the subject real quickly. I don't know if you want to add this, but I want you to get a prediction from you three about Newcastle, if you don't mind me switching.
In terms of,
and you can put this in the pod or not. I just have a question. You asked the score. I have a question about what you think if I give you a quick scenario.
For Notts Forest?
Yes, for Spurs and Forest.
Yeah, go.
Okay. Here's the scenario. Sunday night, Spurs have just lost 1-0. What is your prediction on what happens to Tudor?
Well, you never know this club, do you? So it's a fair one to ponder.
Supposedly we have 3 weeks break, two weeks plus, looks like 3, right? We just lose 1-0. What happens?
I think we stick. I think it's too late now to make a change again.
I think he'd still stick, and I think they'd still stick based on that we've got the point at Liverpool and we've beaten Atletico. Well, and also, Tim, I guess for me, that's quite subjective. 1-0 we lose. In what context is it, right? Yeah. Do we lose 1-0 but play really well? Yeah. Do we lose 1-0 and have 2 goals chalked off because it's this far offside, but we should have won 2-1?
I think the other problem with that 3-week break is it sounds great because you think bring someone else in and they'll have 3 weeks to work with all the players, but most of the players won't be there. They'll be on international duty, so you won't really get a chance to do anything new with the players anyway. And the other thing is, and I think this has been kind of glossed over a little bit, and no one's really mentioned it. Did you know that Tudor's assistant still hasn't started at the club? He's still waiting for a work permit. He's got visa issues. So
that'd be classic Tottenham. Lose to Forest, fire Tudor, and then the assistant rocks up. I'm ready to work.
For like him and Heitinger.
Even if we lost him, my personal view is you never know with these clowns that run things. I don't think they would pull the pin. And look, as much as I'm a romantic with it, and I've banged the drum about it leading up to this couple of games, and we've now turned the corner seemingly. Harry Redknapp coming back is actually quite laughable. Like when you look at it objectively, he hasn't managed in the league 10, 11 years.
The players that we've got now were not playing professional football when he was managing,
14
right?
When he was a manager. Xavi Simons was 12. Like I don't think they really care or know who he is.
They're probably more likely to know him from the jungle than they are from the football these days.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's pretty preposterous. What did you think would happen, Tim? Like, do you think they would stick?
I think you're right. I think the idea that we not only did we fight so hard in the Liverpool game, thank God we got a point, but we looked great. We looked really good, I thought, and we're fighting in that game. The fact that we tied that game, drawed that game, and then the fact that we beat Atletico, I think that makes a huge difference. I think he's staying no matter what because there's not too many games left, and we've shown enough progress prior that it would depend on the context. Now, if we lose 5-0, I think he's gone.
Yeah,
I think I could see that, but I will be shocked if we don't win on Sunday. I really will.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
I think the other thing is as well that from the minute he walked in, he's had virtually no choices to make in terms of picking a team to play, right? We've been so threadbare in terms of squad that he's had 12, 13 players, first team players and then filled the bench with kids for nearly every match. And this is the first time, I think Wednesday is probably the first time where he's had effectively a senior bench. So not only did we have 11 players on the pitch, but he could bring players on that were good. Maybe they're coming back from injury and they might be a bit rusty. But to see him finally get to have a better squad to play with and more first choice players back as well, which I think will really help. But we shall see. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, he probably gets away with a 1-0, but a 5-0 would be. But even though I still don't think that it would be a sensible thing to change him, even if we lost 5-0, mostly because
I also
have we got the time to do?
It's not going to happen.
Just the change. No, it's just the change, right? I don't think so.
After the Palace home game and then the mess that was Madrid away, I had genuine concerns that Tudor didn't care. Now, fast forward to Richarlison equalising away to Liverpool and watching his reaction and his coaching staff's reaction, it meant something. And in that moment, I was kind of convinced he does care. He's going to get us out of this and he's going to make them believe and breed confidence. And that's all we need, confidence. We just need the confidence, which should breed good performances, which should equal points on the board, one would hope.
I also saw that, because he went straight down the tunnel after the whistle.
Isn't that his style, though?
Do you know what? I absolutely did not give a shit. I don't care.
I couldn't care less.
He can do whatever he wants. All he's got to do is pick up the points that are necessary. And I don't care if he punches everyone on his way out the stadium next time.
I couldn't give a shit.
I just really want focus on the football, nothing else.
By the way, I loved his post-match with Sky Sports where they were really asking and pushing him on questions that were pretty fucking irrelevant. And he just said,
been awful.
Interview over.
Yeah, they've been awful.
Interview over. And I was like, go on.
They've been absolutely awful, haven't they? They've been trying to get him sacked for about the last 3 weeks.
Largely, a lot of the mainstay pundits, unless they're connected to Spurs, want to see us go down because of the story. Yeah. I really do. I'm convinced by that. They do. If it was to happen, it's probably arguably as big, if not maybe marginally bigger than Leicester winning the league, right? Tottenham going down is fucking huge. Not that I think it will happen.
Yeah.
I think I think it was the overlap. I saw Gary. Was it the overlap? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Gary Neville was saying like, it would be good for the Premier League.
Yeah, I saw the same.
And I'm like, well, would it? Would it really?
Well, may I remind him, Gary Neville, you're banned from going to Forest, so it'll probably be good for you if Forest go down, because then you won't have to worry about it.
I think it was interesting though, when I spoke to an ex-player this morning, more on that to follow. And he was really, the difference between the supporters being behind the team and not being behind the team, it's massive. Like, it's that they are human beings. I think that gets forgotten a lot with social media and 24-hour media coverage. It's just their entire lives are pulled apart. They're under a microscope all the time. Everything they do on the pitch is replayed in slow motion. Every facial expression, which is why they all ran with their hands over their mouths.
I was going to say, that's why they walk around like this.
It's hard enough job to do your job well, but without all that additional scrutiny that comes with it as well. And I think so. It's good that the supporters are getting behind them, because we could do with a bit of siege mentality, right? Where we're all in this together and screw everyone else. And I think that would be a good thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I don't have a great deal else other than to thank again Tim for coming on, mate. You're probably a list of about 4 people in my life. A quick story about Tim in that there's a guy I used to work with, my brother, a guy that I know here, and then Tim. You're a rare few that can make me, like, you can literally bring me to my knees crying, laughing. Like
Good.
It's like so I had to get you on, mate. You're a great friend and a great sports guy and a Spurs fan. So we wanted to get you on. So thanks again for coming on, mate, and taking some of your time with us.
Absolutely, yeah. Now it's back to March Madness, but yeah, no, it's been awesome. So I hope you're able to cut this up and do the editing.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Once we've close out, I'll hand over to Graeme to close out, and then we can chat off air as well, just briefly. But go ahead, Graeme. I'll let you close us out, man. As always, from me, come on, you Spurs.
Thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Spurs supporters. And do let us know in the comments what you think about our chances on Sunday. And to close us out, as Glenn said, come on, you Spurs.
You Spurs.
Let me be the one that you turn